Today, let us learn a small concept but important concept, that is lacrimal apparatus. The pathway, how the lacrimal secretion or what you call tears are produced and how they are drained. This lacrimal apparatus consists of all these things. The first is the lacrimal gland and its duct system. Second is conjunctival sac. Third is lacrimal puncta and lacrimal canaliculus. Fourth is lacrimal sac. And fifth is nasolacrimal duct. So let us see one by one. This is a picture showing the lacrimal apparatus as a whole. Very important 5-marker question it is. On the lateral orbital wall is situated the lacrimal gland, the pink colored structure. This lacrimal gland has two parts. The gland is divided by a muscle called as levator palpebrae superioris into two parts. The one orbital part behind it and the one front of the muscle called as palpebral part. So this is the orbital part, this is the palpebral part of the lacrimal gland, and this is levator palpebrae superioris. This gland secretes its secretion and controlled by facial nerve. Secretions are controlled by facial nerve. The ducts of the gland will emerge from the deep part also, orbital part also, and palpebral part also. Orbital part ducts pass through the palpebral part, and the secretion, the tears are poured in the conjunctival sac. All this is the conjunctival sac. So from the conjunctival sac, the tears will go in front and moisten the cornea and come to the medial angle of the eye. In the medial canthus of the eye, on the upper eyelid and on the lower eyelid, we have two small openings called as lacrimal punctum. Upper eyelid and lower eyelid, small holes are there. And these puncta will drain the lacrimal fluid. The fluid will enter into them. Then they are drained by lacrimal canaliculus, upper one and also lower one. There are two small canals which will drain the tears from the lacrimal puncta, and both of them will open into another sac called as lacrimal sac. So ultimately tears from the canaliculi will come to the lacrimal sac, which is located in the lacrimal fossa in the medial orbital wall between the lacrimal bone and the frontal process of the maxilla. So this lacrimal sac, the fluid will come here, and from the bottom end of the lacrimal sac, there is a vertical duct begins, that is called as nasolacrimal duct. The tears are drained by now from the sac by the nasolacrimal duct, which will go down up to the inferior meatus of the nose. This is the inferior turbinate, and under that is the inferior meatus. This is middle turbinate, middle meatus, superior turbinate, superior meatus. So the nasolacrimal duct opens onto the inferior meatus guarded by a valve. Nasal secretions will not enter into the nasolacrimal duct, only tears will come down to the nasal cavity. And now the tears produced by the lacrimal gland will go through the ducts into the lacrimal sac, into the punctum, into the canaliculi, into the sac, and drain through the nasolacrimal duct into the inferior meatus, and they go posteriorly and we swallow them without our knowledge. This is the nasolacrimal apparatus or lacrimal apparatus, a very important concept.